Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello, I am Kevin Anderson.
And I'm Adam Okada.
And we are clinical educators and hosts of the Ask the Educator podcast, brought to you by Healthmark, a Getting a company.
Are you a sterile processing technician, infection preventionist, or biomedical engineer? No matter your role, if you're involved in medical device processing, this podcast is for you. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and tools for excellence in medical device processing.
Now let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Ask the Educator podcast with me, as always, co-host Adam Okada. And for this episode, I'm really excited to have from HSPA, Director of Certification and Membership, Siri Sorenson. So, Siri, I just want to say welcome to the show and thank you for joining us. We really appreciate having you.
Thanks, Kevin and Adam. It's great to be here. I have to say, when I was first asked to join, I felt like a bit of an imposter being on Ask the Educator. I'm always looking for sterile processing professionals' expertise to guide me in everything that I do. So I am honored to be here with you today and excited to share a little bit about insights into the HSPA certification programs.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you, and please don't ever feel like an imposter here. We're happy to have anybody on this show, and we all can learn from each other. But as your title would leave people guessing, we're going to talk about certification. And so, first off, I'd like to give you the opportunity to just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at HSPA for those who may not know.
Yeah. I actually started with what was Isham at the time, almost 12 years ago. So it's been quite a while. And I started as a temp. So I was a project coordinator, working predominantly with meeting planning, our annual conference, our LMS, different learning platforms that we had, and then worked my way into certification. But it's always been a passion of mine, and I think certification definitely is something that people can just dive into and use to gain knowledge and skills. So I've been now in the certification department for just over 3 years, and loving everything about it.
Yeah, so what exactly is certification? So sterile processing professionals might already know, might already be certified, but for those that aren't, what is certification and how can it be important to the sterile processing profession?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Certification across the field, no matter what field you're in, it's a way for organizations or entities to really grant formal recognition to individuals. And so certification is looking at a standardized, predetermined set of criteria, eligibility criteria, and then granting individuals who meet that eligibility criteria a badge of honor, if you will, that you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities. We call them KSAs, but that you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, that we've determined are necessary to do that occupation or that role. So whether it's certification in project management, certification in sterile processing, it's always looking at that set of criteria, and what's been defined to really meet kind of the core competencies.
Yeah, that's excellent. And one of the things as an educator, and as Adam knows, uh, putting together a certification program and all of that stuff has got to be a pretty large undertaking, to be honest. And um, we're no stranger to putting programs together, putting our own, writing our own PowerPoints and things like that. But this is much larger than that. And I was just wondering, can you describe a little bit about the process on how those materials are developed?
Yeah, it takes a long time. It takes several years. So every 3 to 5 years per standard industry standards, we do what we call a job analysis. And so again, we're looking at those KSAs required for the job. Um, we're bringing in, part of my role is to work with hundreds of subject matter experts throughout the industry to really give guidance on where the certification program's going, what's required for the certification. So we bring together subject matter experts to look at the job, do a job analysis, look at what's required, what the role is. Has it changed over the past few years? Are there new is there new knowledge that's deemed appropriate or necessary? And so they get together and they're kind of looking through everything, looking at the previous content outline. We're lucky to have a content outline for each of our programs already in place. So they're looking at that content outline and seeing if they need to update it, change it in any way. Um, and once we do that, we actually send out a survey so that we get the entire population involved. And we get feedback because there's only so many people in the room at a time. And so we really want to get feedback from different populations, different sectors to make sure that we're on the right page, we're on the right path. And then we get another group of subject matter experts together to not only review input from the first meeting that we have, but also to review survey comments. Um, and so we'll take all those survey comments together in that next meeting and really work to put together what we call the final outline or the content outline, the blueprint for the exam. And that's really the start of the exam itself. So that's just the beginning piece, but that all fits together into creating the exams, creating the content, looking at the items that we need, but really building that blueprint kind of from the bottom up. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into the certification process in preparing to, put out a new exam or to update an exam. It's a lot of work that Siri and her team do. I've been a subject matter expert, and I've helped with some of those test development activities, and it's a serious process. It does take a long time, and it's a lot of work. So thank you for doing all that. And HSPA actually has a number of certifications. It's not just the CRCST or the basic certification. Can you speak a little bit to what certifications HSPA offers?
Yeah, we offer kind of our base program. The one that's the most well known is probably the CRCST. So the Certified Registered Central Service Technician. We certify almost 650 to 750 people a month in that program. And so it's really the introductory certification for sterile processing professionals, technicians who might be new to the field, who have 400 hours of hands-on experience. So they've maybe gotten their feet wet a little bit, but it's the introductory base certification. We also have I'm going to skip ahead to the CHL. The CHL is offered as a healthcare leader certification. So that one's more for individuals who are looking toward that leadership role, whether it's, a department director, manager, supervisor, looking more at budgeting and staffing and what's required for the department at large. Um, the CER is one of our, I'll say, newer certifications. It's been in the field for a couple years now, but the newest one of our 5 certifications, and that's the endoscope reprocessor. So it's a little bit more specialized towards those working specifically with endoscopes. Um, it is a standalone certification, so you don't have to have a CRCST to earn it. Um, the CER is more specialized toward endoscopes specifically. And lastly, I want to talk about the CIS. It's a certified instrument specialist. The CIS is really so right now we're going through the job analysis for the CIS. And we're looking more toward quality assurance, really honing in on the instrumentation and the why behind it, the why behind what we do. So it's a step above a CRCST. You have to have a CRCST as a preliminary requisite for the CIS. But the CIS takes it a little bit further to specifically look at why do we process instruments this way? What's required? What's going to happen if we don't do things correctly? And really looking to the quality of the role. We also have a certification that's specific to vendor partners. So that's the CCSVP. And that one's a specific introductory role for vendors. So for individuals working in the field who, maybe need to get a little bit more knowledge of the sterile processing department so that they can really speak toward, what they're selling and how that's going to work within the departments. So it gives them kind of a leg up and a knowledge of who they're working with and being able to have a deeper understanding of sterile processing at large.
Yeah, so real quick to that vendor one, I think that is such a cool idea because working for a company that employs tons of sales uh, team members, it's a huge need. These sales team, they can come from all different areas of industry. It doesn't it may not even be healthcare. It might be their first job or whatever. We try to find qualified individuals, but their experience varies quite a bit. So that vendor certification is nice because I know within that they require some observation time and things like that, like time in the actual department. So definitely wanted to call that out because it's unique, number one, and number two, because it's a huge need that you guys are solving. The other thing is I want to address that CIS thing, that component you're talking about, where you're trying to add some quality components to that education, and I just want to call that out as a huge need. Number one, I think there could probably be some management leadership side of things, quality components that could be in the CHL, maybe for a future version of that. But I think it's awesome to also integrate that into the CIS. It makes a ton of sense to me, and I'm really excited to hear that you guys are doing that. Number one, and number two, where does it end up going? I'm really interested to see what that looks like when it comes to the final certification product and what that looks like in the manual and all of that kind of thing. So, really excited about that. I did not know that was coming, so I'm stoked to hear that. And lastly, Siri, I just wanted to give you a last, thought or whatever you wanted to share with our audience before we wrap up the podcast.
No, thank you. I just certification really shows a commitment to public safety, a commitment to consumer protection, and ultimately, sterile processing is about taking care of the patients, right? Making sure that every patient has a safe experience and that they're able to go home at the end of the day and see their families. So I think that accountability that certification brings with it, that onus toward continued enhanced competence, just, having that continuous education, not only earning the certification, but then maintaining it. So HSPA has a yearly maintenance schedule, which we stand by. I think it's incredibly important to make sure that you are continuing your competence throughout the year. So much is changing in the healthcare world, right? On a daily basis, there's new things happening. Making sure that you're up to date. And even if there's not something new that's come out, making sure that you're um, remembering what you studied, right? You get this badge of excellence when you earn a certification. And I say this lightly, but it's one piece of the puzzle, right? You have this certification, you're taking it into your place of employment, wherever that may be. And you're saying, I have this competency, I have this level of experience and knowledge that I bring with me, and I have the certification to back that up. But then it's a matter of how you use that, right? Are you staying up to date with improvements, processes? Are you making sure that you know the why behind things? And so I think that continuous improvement that comes with certification maintenance is incredibly important. Not just earning the certification, but making sure that you stand behind it and you understand, what its value is and what it does for you.
I love that. I mean, it really the mark of a professional is to have that mark from an association that says, I am an expert in this field and here's how I can prove it. And that's what certification is all about. So Siri, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Really enjoyed having you. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
All opinions expressed on this episode are those of the presenters. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Before using any medical device, it's important to review the manufacturer's instructions for use and consult with a professional.
For any questions or feedback, please reach out to us at asktheeducator@hmark.com.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.